They control half of London's most elite turf, their family crest stamped on British history for a millennium. Yet few know their name, or how they transformed themselves from medieval knights to secret aristocratic puppet masters shaping the world's hottest global capital. The Grosvenors, aristocratic puppet masters of elite London. London's renowned grandeur emerged from mud and marsh, its storied streets once rutted paths winding through cabbage patches beyond ancient Roman walls. Yet even as the city swelled over centuries into a prestigious global beacon, a powerful dynasty guided its growth from the shadows. The formidable Grosvenor family, masters of the aristocratic universe who accrued vast tracts of land when London was but a rustic town clustered along the Thames. By stealthily annexing pastures and parks over generations, these crafty puppeteers transformed themselves into the true rulers of London's most gilded neighborhoods. While commoners toiled in medieval squalor, the Grosvenors strategized and politicked. Bishopsgate born, their heraldic crest bore the motto, Virtus non stemma, virtue not pedigree. Yet pedigree and courtly cunning bolstered their calculated ascent to grandeur. Their auspicious rise began in 1066, when ancestor Gilbert le Grosvenor joined William the Conqueror's Norman invasion as standard-bearer. For loyal service at the Battle of Hastings, Gilbert was gifted land in Cheshire. This planted the first seed of aristocratic elevation. Over 4 centuries later, another milestone marriage germinated their growing fortune. In 1677, Hugh Grosvenor wedded heiress Mary Davies, melding their land holdings. Her 500 acres of rural meadows outside London became the family's launchpad to peerage and power. As London crept westwards over generations, so too did the family's holdings. Grosvenor cunning saw potential where others saw only cows. 18th century inheritance catapulted their lands into gold mines as Mayfair and Belgravia blossomed from marshy pastures into the most envied aristocratic enclaves of empire. Once rolling fields adorned only by brambles and badgers transformed into elegant streets lined with the era's finest Georgian and Victorian architecture. The family's legacy permeated the growing prestige emerging around Hyde Park and Westminster. From swamps to splendor, how did one family turn wasteland into London's most exclusive neighborhoods? Their vision seeded the city's future. By the mid-1800s, the cakiest layers of London high society were thickly slathered with Grosvenor icing. As modernization ushered in bourgeois newcomers like the Todds and Rockefellers, established dynasties like the Grosvenors safeguarded their noble status through city planning schemes. Upending cramped chaos for grandeur, they carved garden squares and grand white stuccoed terraces from former farmlands. Row upon row of elegant cream-colored mansions soared along tree-lined avenues, adorned with black wrought-iron balconies and large sash windows. An emerging aristocratic nucleus owing its prestige entirely to the Grosvenors' visionary infusions of capital and influence. They molded Mayfair and Belgravia not just through lavish construction, but by attracting the era's richest residents through refinements designed to awe. Spectacular architectures, exclusive addresses, harrods and high-end haberdashers, and amenities catering to gentry. The family crafted landscapes and lifestyles symbolic of luxury and power, presiding over these social sanctums from the center of the world's greatest empire. How did one family turn cow pastures into an epicenter of wealth and taste-making that still awes today? Their influence seeded more than streets. It seeded social distinction itself. The Victorian era peaked with Queen Victoria honoring the Grosvenors for their vital contributions to London's built environment. In 1874, Hugh Grosvenor was bestowed with the title First Duke of Westminster, the highest rank in British aristocracy. By now, the Grosvenors were one of Britain's wealthiest families, behind only the royal family. Eaton Hall, their sprawling country house, now stood as the height of aristocratic living with over 30,000 acres of gardens and fields for leisure. When maverick heir Lord Tony Grosvenor died racing his car in 1929, royalty and 10,000 mourners attended the funeral, affirming the family's stature despite scandal or tragedy. Even amidst 20th century world wars and economic change, the Grosvenor fortune persisted. By the 1990s, newly built elite citadels like Canary Wharf expanded their holdings eastwards, and the family name expanded across the globe, adorning real estate and projects from Asia to North America. How did one family keep their influence so mighty that even today their name is uttered in Hong Kong and Vancouver with reverence? Their dynasty played the long game. Today, the Grosvenor relic persists as a sprawling economic force girdling the world. Yet the family's nucleus remains London, their birthplace, and the fount from which their unmatched legacy sprang. Walk through Mayfair or Belgravia now, and behold their living history. The Grosvenors as no mere landlords, but puppeteers and placemakers plucking strings of royalty, politics and business for 10 centuries, whilst fusing their family identity with London's most affluent streets. Their perturbed Norman ancestors surely never imagined cows grazing on medieval pastures would fund mansions housing British elites centuries later. Or that marshy wastes bequeathed by a 17th century bride would become the envy of Russian oligarchs and Saudi princes. From rural riches to ranks now including dukes, earls and more, the Grosvenors elevated themselves via land grabs that shifted dirt into donations fueling Britain's burgeoning industrialization. Eventually, even royalty paid heed, with sovereigns from William the Conqueror to Elizabeth II granting them highest peerages and favors. Yet shadows haunt venerable names. Whispers of wartime profiteering, offshore tax evasion, drug addictions, gambling debts, infidelities, illegitimate children, and murder rumors blot their elite veneer. Power's price is scrutiny, and ancient influence is attacked when structures underpinning it erode. Scandals and whispers never cease about ancient blue blood dynasties. How long can any family balance upright on an ever-moving tightrope of power? For now, Grosvenor fortunes remain dizzying. In 2016, the 6th Duke of Westminster bequeathed assets worth over £10 billion to son Hugh, making him the world's richest person under 30. Yet the winds of capitalism and democracy reshape society. Will fresh forces demand a reckoning from this dynastic giant looming over London's most valuable turf? Their family motto proclaimed virtue over pedigree. As the next generation inherits immense unearned bounty, will they uphold this creed, or succumb to vices plaguing the privileged? Only they can determine whether their vaunted lineage persists as pivotal shapers of London's landscape and nobility. Their ancestors masterminded stratagems raising them to wealth. Now they must safeguard their dynasty amidst a disruptive era questioning ossified privilege. Ancient dynasties molded kingdoms, but can they adapt to social shifts rending their fabric? The future will judge them not by pedigree, but by virtue. For a millennium, the Grosvenors have concerned themselves with cultivating power and prestige. Perhaps their next chapter will redirect this acumen towards progress, innovation, and equality. Leadership entails evolving with the times whilst remaining grounded in proven principles. By honoring their family motto amidst change, embracing fairer capitalism, and forging their identity anew, the Grosvenors could steer their legacy towards virtue benefiting all. As a burgeoning London changed around them, this family changed with it whilst changing it. Their saga reminds us cities are not concrete and glass alone, but living organisms shaped by citizens, stories, and centuries of plans and power plays. The Grosvenors imprinted their dynasty onto England's greatest capital. Londoners experiencing the city they helped elevate owe them a nod. For through tenacity and statesmanship, they fused their family with Britain's urban heart forevermore. No small legacy for bishops begat from Kentish fields in ancient days preceding Norman plunder, yet still their fortunes golden shine, seeding abundance for heirs atop London's glittering throne. So walk today through Mayfair's leafy squares to Belgravia's grand cream terraces and behold their living history. The Grosvenors, aristocratic puppet masters who made London their own.